Hey there, my divine city planners and celestial slashers. Today we're diving into the hybrid world of ActRaiser, where you play God, literally, and the real miracle is multitasking. Ever wonder what it's like to juggle smiting evil while ensuring your followers get their daily bread? Well, strap in, because we're about to explore how this SNES classic made players omnipotent project managers before multitasking became a buzzword on resumes. Now let's peel back the curtain and see just who was really pulling the divine strings behind ActRaiser. Developed by Quintet, a Japanese game company, this ambitious title was released in 1990 for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Quintet was a relatively new kid on the block at the time, founded by Tomoyoshi Miyazaki, Masaya Yoshimoto, and Yuzo Koshiro. But as much as I might have butchered those names, they still might not ring a bell for everyone. But in the gaming world, they're like the Holy Trinity. Tomoyoshi, the creative director, and Hashimoto, the lead programmer, previously worked at Nihon Falcom, where they contributed to the Wise series. Not why like, why are you doing that, but why like the letter, a highly influential action RPG franchise. They wanted to bring a new kind of gameplay experience to life, blending action and simulation in a way that had never been done before. The game's development wasn't just a walk in the celestial park. The team faced significant challenges combining two very different genres into one cohesive experience. The action stages were influenced by traditional side-scrolling games, while the simulation segments took inspiration from God Sim games like SimCity. Balancing these elements required a lot of trial and error, and there were many late nights spent tweaking gameplay mechanics to ensure both parts felt satisfying and interconnected. But why did they choose this unusual blend, you ask? Well, Miyazaki and Hashimoto wanted to create a game that stood out in the crowded market of the early 90s video games. They believed gamers were ready for more complex narratives and innovative gameplay. The result was a game where players didn't just hack and slash, they had to think strategically about how to grow and protect their in-game civilizations. Interestingly, ActRaiser was initially intended to be even more ambitious. Early design documents reveal plans for a more complex simulation mode with intricate resource management systems. However, due to time constraints and hardware limitations of the SNES, many of these game features had to be scaled back or cut entirely. Despite these challenges, the game managed to push the boundaries of what the SNES could handle, showcasing impressive graphics and smooth transitions between game modes. Now let's break down the story of ActRaiser, which begins with a classic tale of good versus evil. You play as the Master, a powerful deity who awakens from a deep slumber to find the world in ruins, overrun by monsters led by the evil demon Tanzra. This celestial showdown isn't just about smiting demons, it's also about restoring hope and rebuilding civilization from scratch. The game is set in the fictional world of Fillmore, which is divided into 6 regions, each plagued by its unique set of problems and monstrous inhabitants. As the Master, your divine mission is to defeat Tanzra's minions in each region, reclaim the land, and guide humanity back to prosperity. The narrative is split into 2 main parts, the action-packed platforming sequences and the more serene simulation segments. In the action sequences, the Master descends to Earth, inhabiting a stone statue to fight against various demonic creatures. This is where the hack-and-slash gameplay comes into play. The Master battles through the side-scrolling levels, each culminating in a boss fight against one of Tanzra's lieutenants. These battles are crucial for clearing the land of evil and paving the way for human settlement. The characters in ActRaiser are relatively sparse but pivotal. Besides the Master and Tanzra, you have the Angel, your trusty sidekick, who serves as the player's guide during the simulation segments. The Angel's role is to assist in overseeing the human population, helping them build towns, fend off minor monsters, and manage natural disasters. The Angel communicates the needs and prayers of the people to the Master, adding a layer of strategy to the game. Then there's Tanzra, the main antagonist, the big baddie, who is essentially the embodiment of all things evil in Fillmore. Tanzra is a demon lord who, along with his 6 lieutenants, has wreaked havoc on the world. Each lieutenant represents a different type of malice, from plagues to natural disasters, and each control a specific region, presenting unique challenges for the Master. The human inhabitants of Fillmore, although not individually named, are the heart of the game's narrative. Their progress and development are a direct reflection of the Master's efforts, as they build their cities, clear forests, and cultivate land, they provide offerings and prayers to the master, reinforcing the symbiotic relationship between deity and followers. Each region tells its own mini-story. For instance, in Bloodpool, you deal with a lake that has turned red due to the influence of an evil demon. In Cassandra, you face the challenges of a desert environment and the mystery of an ancient pyramid. These localized narratives add depth and variety to the overarching quest to defeat Tanzra and restore peace. The beauty of ActRaiser lies in how it seamlessly blends these stories into gameplay. The Master's divine intervention directly influences the human's ability to thrive, where their faith and progress empower the Master to take on even greater challenges. This interconnectedness makes each victory in the action sequences feel meaningful, as it translates into tangible progress in the simulation segments. As the Master defeats Tanzra's minions and the world begins to heal, the final showdown with Tanzra himself becomes the ultimate test of strength and strategy. It's not just about defeating a powerful enemy, but also proving the resilience of humanity and the enduring power of hope and faith. Now let's delve a little more into the gameplay mechanics of ActRaiser, where divine intervention meets urban planning with a side of monster slaying. The gameplay is split into these two distinct yet interconnected modes: the action platformer segments and the city building simulation. In the action segments, you control the Master, who descends from the heavens to inhabit a warrior statue. Picture this, a god squeezing into a stone suit, ready to dish out divine justice. You navigate side-scrolling levels, jumping, slashing, and occasionally using magic to defeat various enemies and bosses. Each region's actions level sets the stage for clearing out the monstrous pest plaguing the land. It's like the ultimate pest control service, but with more swordplay and a little less bug spray. These action stages are classic platformer fare, reminiscent of other titles from the era, but with a distinct divine twist. Enemies range from the usual goblin and bats to more formidable foes like centaurs and giant skulls. The level design includes everything from treacherous platforms to hidden traps, ensuring that even a deity needs to stay on their toes. Once the action is complete, it's time for the Master to don a different hat, more like a heavenly architect's cap. This brings us to the simulation segments, where you float above the land, guiding your tiny human followers to rebuild their civilization. Using your angelic helper, you instruct the people to construct homes, farms, and other structures, gradually transforming the desolate landscape into a thriving community. As you might expect, city building isn't just about plopping down houses. You also need to protect your people from natural disasters and monster attacks. Here's a pro tip: if you're ever feeling overwhelmed by your godly duties, just casually pause the game, grab a snack, and remember to hit that like and subscribe button for more divine wisdom. The simulation mode is where ActRaiser really shines though. You can use miracles like lightning to clear trees, rain to nourish crops, and even earthquakes to reshape the land. Your followers will occasionally pray for help, requiring you to fend off monsters or aid in their development. These interactions make the world feel alive, as your divine actions directly impact the growth and happiness of your people. And speaking of people, let's talk about how many actually bought this game. When ActRaiser came out in 1990, it didn't just quietly enter the market, it made a divine entrance. Despite its innovative gameplay and critical acclaim, the number sales weren't exactly heavenly. In Japan, the game sold about 620,000 copies, while in North America and Europe, it sold around 180,000. These figures might not seem impressive by today's standards, but for an early SNES title blending two genres, it was a pretty respectable showing. Critically, ActRaiser was praised for its ambitious design and unique gameplay mechanics. Reviewers lauded its graphics, soundtrack, and the seamless integration of action and simulation elements. Magazines like Famitsu gave it high marks, and it received positive coverage in Western publications like Nintendo Power and Electronic Gaming Monthly. The game's blend of genres was particularly noted as a bold and successful experiment in a time when most games stuck to a single genre formula. While ActRaiser didn't become a massive commercial juggernaut, its legacy has endured. The game is often included in best of lists for the SNES and is remembered fondly for those who played it. Its influence is evident in the way it inspired other games to push the boundaries of genre and gameplay. Now let's take a little time for some trivia and explore some genuinely fascinating aspects of the game that you might not have noticed even if you're a seasoned player. Prepare to test your knowledge and perhaps learn something new about this classic title. First up, in ActRaiser, what happens when you successfully clear all monster lairs in a region during the simulation mode? Once all monster lairs are sealed in a region, no more monsters will spawn, allowing the population to grow safely and the players to focus on city building and resource management without further interruption from enemy attacks. Next up, we have the soundtrack of ActRaiser, which was widely acclaimed for its composition. But can you name the composer who created this iconic score and another famous game series he worked on? The soundtrack was composed by Yuzo Koshiro, who is renowned for his work on the Streets of Rage series. His compositions in ActRaiser are celebrated for their orchestral depth and emotional resonance, adding a dramatic layer to the gameplay experience. And last, in the simulation mode of ActRaiser, players use miracles to influence the development of their civilizations. What is one of the miracles available, and how does it specifically affect the game environments? One of the miracles players can wield is the Sunshine Miracle. This is particularly useful in snowy areas like Aotos, where using sunshine melts snow, allowing the villagers to expand their settlements and cultivate the land that was previously covered. And there you have it, folks, ActRaiser, the game where you can be both omnipotent city planner and a stone-cold monster slayer. Who knew divine multitasking could be so much fun? Until next time, keep slaying those demons and building those towns, because even deities need a hobby. If you enjoyed reconstructing the history of ActRaiser, click this video here to see more from the Retro Reload. And as always, thank you for watching.